Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of 10 Questions with the Musical Mind. I'm your host, Peter Harris, and today we're joined by Russ Graham, perhaps better known to all of you as Russ Dwarf of the band Killer Dwarves. Russ is the lead singer and lyricist of the band since 1981. So we discuss a lot of things here. Songwriting, how he comes up with the lyrics, everything from the state of the music industry today to his personal heroes to our family pets. So let's listen in and hope you enjoy it. Yeah. You up in Canada?
Yeah, I'm in a little town. I live like 2 hours north of Toronto in a
Okay.
little town called Aurelia. I don't live in the city. All the guys live in the city, but I'm not a city. I'm not a city man.
I hear you. You know, this is random, but of course I knew your early albums. But in '92, when you had the Method to the Madness album, I was so stoked because I was like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, I've already liked these guys, but anybody who puts Nosferatu on an album cover is okay by me.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm a huge old movie buff.
Yeah. Well, I remember even then. I mean, let's see. I'd gotten out of the army in '93, and I went to the University of Georgia. But I remember going into I like all the photos of Nosferatu, but I had to go into the university library on like the 10th floor and check out like microfiche and like old film stock
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
movie to actually see it for the first time because there was no internet. You couldn't just look up whatever you wanted.
Yeah, that's amazing, and you never see the film at that stage. There was no TCM or anything at that point.
Right.
So.
I mean, I had seen still photographs of the movie for years in books, so I finally got the movie scene. But yeah, there's just people take for granted how easy it is to see whatever you want.
No, nowadays, yeah, for sure. No, you actually had to have a brain and think shit up back then.
Right. Kind of excited in recent years with, Ellison doing EMP and companies like Rat Pack and Frontier that are really kind of focusing on real rock music and people who play instruments and not only promoting the veteran bands but also getting new stuff together. I mean, has it been a good transition, a lot of support?
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head right there. That's probably like the three companies that are, focused on us old geezers and stuff, because the days of, the $10 million record deals are long gone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, and obviously in the last even 20 years, it's been a mom and pop operation for bands like us.
Sure.
And it's nice to have a little farther reach with, Dave obviously has got a big, footprint because of Megadeth and everything. And so it just makes the world a little smaller and a little better, distribution and stuff. It's so early with us, with them too.
Right.
It's hard to say. I'm hoping, these are almost more like licensing deals. It's not like you get a bunch of money or anything. We subsidize all our own situation, but we're working with each other to try to promote things. And I haven't talked to Dave myself personally. Tom has. We've basically done the deal with him, and then we'll see how it goes and everything. And this is the live album thing is just an initial product to get out with them and everything, and see how stuff goes.
Right.
And,
well, first of all,
it's been positive.
I'm going to jump aside that this album, No Guff, it's great sounding, and I'm going to actually jump to a question because your last album was about 16, 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What would you describe as the differences in recording process? Because this No Guff has got, I mean, I'm guessing it's soundboard material, but it's just great separation. I mean, the mix is good. The audience is detectable, but not, distracting. It's just a really good live mix.
Yeah, well, the probably the key to this situation is we've used the same engineer for years and years for all. Yeah, even when we were with Epic for all our demos, and he's a good friend of ours. His name is Fred Duvall. His studio called Powerline Studio in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He's known as Professor Red Shoes. He's coming to my house on Saturday for tonight, so that should be a fun event. But he does a really great job. He actually teaches audio engineering at Seneca College in Canada, and he's kept up with the learning curve over 40 years.
Right.
And he's really great at what he does, and he knows us inside and out. And since we're such tight friends, I just let him do what he does best. We do what we do, and I let him do whatever he wants because he's very technically, competent.
Right.
I trust him with everything, and he does a great job, and I think he's outdone himself
Yeah,
with this
it
album.
sounds great. I mean, it's phenomenal with just the mix and the
Thank you.
clarity. Yeah, and I'm sure engineers and producers alike, once they got over, it was probably a decade or so of the hiccups and the growing pains of digital. It's got to be nice now that it's reliable to not have to split 2-inch tape and tape it together and cut and splice and,
Yeah.
and have just 500 tracks if you want it instead of a 48 track Studer. But
Yeah, those are fun days too, though. That lends itself to a whole nother world, and that's the world we come from, really.
Mhm.
And he still holds on to analog, but he's definitely a futuristic kind of producer, engineer guy. But also the band, they play so well. Uh, it's in their being. You know what I mean? It's not trickery or anything. It's just
Right,
that's how they play. So he has a really good, solid uh, ground to work with. You know
right.
what I mean? And like I said, and he's a musician himself. He's a drummer and he's a songwriter and a piano player, and he gets it, right.
Right, exactly.
So it's a great combination to have, and it's great to have him in our family because you know you don't have to get to learn. Oh, here's a new guy. Let's try to figure out if we connect and everything, right? It's just a bunch of Chinese food and beer.
Yeah, and that's true because I've seen, I'm sure you know of like major mainstream bands, and every once in a while come with an album. Like, was this recorded underwater? Like, what? I don't understand,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think Freddie did a fabulous job. I'm completely happy with it, and it's getting great reviews. Like guys like you who are like fans, which those are the people that matter. I don't
right,
give a shit what any critic's going to say about anything, right? And
right,
it's basically a good live snapshot of where we are right now,
right,
and I think
exactly.
that's a nice product.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I agree completely. I was thoroughly pleased with it.
Awesome.
Talk about the songwriting. What's the process for the band? Has it changed over the years? Like these days, are you guys sending each other demos and working on parts separately? Or are you still getting in a room and jamming?
Yeah, it's hard. You can get the pros and cons of the whole new age is great because you can, oh, here's a lick I just got on my phone or whatever,
Hmm.
send it. But the bottom line is you have me personally, I like to be in a room with someone and
Hmm.
physically right there and everything. And the way we do it with the dwarfs is usually, Jerry and I will be he will come over and stay over, and we'll just, go over ideas and try to fiddle with stuff. If we don't get too hammered, we
Right.
usually come up with something, and then eventually, we'll get to the band and Dunk and Johnny, and then we'll arrange it together as a band and everything. It's a very democratic adventure with us. There's not a lot of bullshit and
Right.
fighting and shit. We just, I'm not saying we're all perfect and we don't ever fight because that's bullshit, but we pretty much get along.
Yeah.
Like as a band, this band is pretty laid back bunch of guys, right? We all have the same end goal. We just want to play rock and roll, and it's all gravy at this point for us. We're not trying to make it in show business or anything. We're just trying to have fun
Right.
playing, and we enjoy each other's company, and it's a gift, and we're grateful to be able to do it.
Right. And I do think I've spoken with other musicians about this. There's a lot to be said for longevity and stability of members. So when you have the bands that are some guys that I love, but when you have a new lead singer every other album,
Yeah,
it's hard to build a fan base around that because there's no home team to root for.
yeah. I don't. That's such a. It almost seems to be like a phenomenon with this genre, right? Like
Hmm.
the guys our age in our 50s, and you know who we're talking about here.
Exactly.
And I don't get it. I can't. It's hard for me to even conceive it. I don't know, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. But it's not the same. You cannot replace these people. You
Right.
can't. You cannot do it.
The only
it's
name I'll
not
throw
the
out
same
there,
thing.
the only name I'll
Right.
throw out there is because I'm not slagging him at all. I'm a huge fan. The only guy who's gotten away with that consistently for 40 years is David Coverdale.
Mm-hmm.
He's managed to, stay pop or whatever, and I mean that's been a revolving door. But of course, it's still his voice and everything and his vision.
I think because that's his band, right? Really, when you think of that. But you're correct on that situation. But look at Priest, look at Maiden, look at on and on and on. I don't know that's the staple of this genre, where the vocals, I think, in a lot of ways, it was a signature of these bands. You know what I mean? Obviously, player wise, it's the same difference. Like, you're not going to replace Eddie Van Halen or anything, but that's
right.
That's an anomaly compared to what the rest of us really are and everything. No, we're not going to be that. You know what I mean? I would realize when I was like 19, shit, man, I'm never going to be in the Beatles, and I'm not going to be Elvis.
Well, it's occurred to me over the last 35 years that apparently me practicing twice a month is not going to turn me into the next Eddie Van Halen, because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just, that's the mystery of it, which is the great thing about music, and especially rock and roll. You know what I mean? It's a vibe. It has nothing to do with technicality, I don't think. And
no.
in the long run, I think it's a feeling. You know what I mean? It was almost like the way punk rock was. It was an attitude, right? And
right.
I think this genre is the same. It's got the same thing. We're just all old geezers now playing casinos.
Right.
But we still have the same attitude, except for we're in bed by 10.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I'm in bed by 10, so yeah, no judgment there. On the topic of lyrics, talking about songwriting, after you've been doing it so long, I mean, is it hard for you to keep your ideas fresh? I mean, do you ever suffer writer's block? Like, geez, I've written 3 songs about this before, or...
Yeah, I never really try to, like, torture myself, and, like, I don't get up, oh my God, I have to write a fucking song today. It's not in me. It's not in me, but I'm constantly writing down, stupid shit I think up. Like, and if you knew me personally, I've got a lot to say. But
so you do like stockpile ideas if you come up with?
Yeah, I do. I write a lot of stuff down, and it's hard to say if anything becomes of anything. But also at certain points, like if I hear, like if Jerry comes and I just hear music, sometimes words will just come. Automatically, right? Like when we wrote, when we did the album Dirty Weapons, for instance, we were in pre-production for 6 months with that record, and we had everything down to a fine art. Like we knew exactly all we needed to do, and when we met Andy was to get tempos and endings and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after we did like 2 or 3 days of pre-production with him, and he said, okay, I need one more song. I need a ballad or something. And we went back to the hotel and we wrote Doesn't Matter in 20 minutes.
Right. Isn't that amazing?
In 20 fucking minutes, that song came out. So there's no set rule or anything. Whatever floats your boat and how it makes you feel. You know what I mean? I'm not from the school of, I got to sit down every day and try to churn something out. It's like trying to have, it'd be like being constipated and trying to make it happen. It ain't going to happen. And that's just the way we operate.
No, absolutely. That makes sense. And it's always funny when you hear about the last tracks and we had to throw in an album and it ends up just being a killer song.
I think that might have to do with, like the vibe that you're getting at the time with everybody in the room. And you know what I mean? It's there's so many variables involved. And if you could, figure out what that was, we'd be gazillion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's just rock and roll. There's 3 chords. I know both of them.
Right, exactly. Math magician.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Little
did they know?
Exactly.
Like, oh my God, everything's to do with math. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies outside of music?
My dog. He's not really my hobby. He's my life. Jackson, my golden retriever, my 5-year-old golden retriever.
I'm looking at a picture of him now.
Yeah, he's a good boy, and he takes up a lot of my time. But I'm into other stuff, old time radio shows. I've been into them for 40, 50 years, and I love Elvis, and metal detecting
Mm.
and scale trains and trying to teach myself piano. And I've got drinking beer. I am Canadian, so that's one of my biggest hobbies.
Exactly.
And just stuff like that, and just being with my family and everything at
Yeah.
this age. I'm just happy to be at home most of the time.
Sure. Yeah.
I've got lots to keep myself occupied.
Speaking, I've got my black lab right here next to me.
There you go.
We
There you go.
we rescued a senior yellow lab a few years ago, and he was part of our family for a few years, and he passed away in April. And this one,
Oh,
we just adopted him, and his owner died, unfortunately. So he's
oh.
we're already in love with him. But yeah,
Well, that's great. That's awesome. Well, that's probably the biggest thing in my life, besides my wife and my daughter and everything. We love Jackson. You know how much time it takes up in your life and everything. And it's such a great thing.
Especially when Gus was senior, we had to devote until hours, but it was worth every minute of it. Yeah.
That's sad, but that's nice that you guys would do that. That's awesome, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got as much from him as he got from us, definitely.
Well, you'll have to put Jackson picture on when you put the podcast up.
Oh, I will. Absolutely.
I'll send you some pictures.
Do that. That's a deal. I'll absolutely do that.
I will.
As far as music goes, we were talking about the old time and any of the new generation of bands that you find especially interesting.
Yeah, I do. I and I probably sound old at this point, but I still love that, and they're still new to me. The Rival Sons, I think that's a great band.
Yeah.
A great band, fabulous band, very talented cats. And who else do I like? Oh, there's a couple. What the hell? Jesus, my brain is not functioning. There's a few new bands that I like, but you're always discovering new music and everything. And I like Rich Robinson's new band, Magpie Salute. I think that's a great band.
I've not listened to it.
Yeah, it's a good. I just bought the live album, and the new album comes out on the 10th. It's like old Small Faces, and it's the old rock and roll to me and everything. My best friend John Scully McIntosh he's a technician. He's a famous tech in the guitar world, but he's always hip to this stuff that comes out and turns me on to this. And I just actually got this, and I really enjoy it actually.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, check it out. It's a good band. It's honest. It sounds honest to me.
Right. Well, that's important because it's so easy to. I find that once I start digging, there is still good music out there. Just don't, radio is obviously awful, and it's. Clear Channel and iHeartMedia and all that just destroyed radio.
Yeah.
If you had told me in 1986 that in 2018 I'd still be listening to Hotel California 4 times a day.
I know. They destroyed everything from the radio to the venues to everything. But, I listen to a lot of satellite radio if I'm not listening to my own stuff. But I'll listen to Elvis, which I'm a huge Elvis fan, so I love the Elvis. And now they just got a brand new Beach Boys channel, which I love, and the Tom Petty channel is great, and the Frank Sinatra channel, and the Beatles channel, and once in a while I'll listen to Lucas on Hair Nation or whatever he's blithering on about.
I love blithering; it's one of my favorite words.
I think it's a Canadian word.
Yeah, I always used to use it with blithering idiot.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
I digress.
No, you're fine.
My good friend Lucas Carl, yes.
When you guys are recording, and we talked about this a little bit, but do you tend to finish one song at a time, or do you in these 3 days we're going to lay down all the rhythm beds? Or
no, usually what we do, before we actually go in, we usually have a really good mapped out situation. We rehearse enough to where we know, like I said, we have the tempos and shit and the arrangements together and stuff. And usually what we do is we'll go in and Dunk will lay down the drums first, and he's so solid, he gets it done so fast, and then we'll work up from there, bass, because we'll do ghost tracks and everything, and then we'll just start layering and everything. It's really not rocket science because it's just rock and roll, and just try to paint a picture that way. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Now, when do you ever go back and listen to your early albums? Obviously, there's most of your songs you've been playing live over the
Mm-hmm.
years, do you ever go back and listen to the original recording and go, wow, I hadn't realized how much we've changed that over the years?
Yeah, I've done that in the last couple of years because Dunk's in charge of the set list and everything, and people are always requesting stuff, and I'm usually the one going, no, I'm not doing that. But I have listened to I listened to the whole Big Deal album, I think, sometime last year, and I was impressed how great it sounded.
Yeah,
And I thought there was some good songs on there and everything. But I'm not the kind of person that really goes back. Once it's done, I'm done. I really don't
sure.
go back and listen to things and everything. But I'm proud of all those records. I think they were all really well done, but I really don't listen to my own stuff.
I've always found that odd because you're by no means the only person to say that, but I can sort of see it when you work so hard on something and put so much effort into it. When you're finally done, it's almost like you need some space from it, and before you know it,
Yeah,
10 years has gone by and you haven't listened to it again. Yeah,
Yeah, you do. To me, an album is like a postcard. Like really, it's no one was really there but us, and it's a nice little memento of what the hell went down. Like,
right.
because it's like having a kid, you know what I mean, or something, right?
Yeah, and I
It's
think
a
it's probably the only healthy way to look at it.
it's a great fun thing to do and everything, but it kicks the shit out of you, right? And it can ruin bands. It can fuck up relationships. It can do everything just to get some songs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm proud of the records we've done. I'm not ashamed of any of them.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah, they're great.
I can still sing the lyrics and not be thinking Jesus. You know what I mean?
Well, that's good. That is good.
Yeah, we never really sung about chicks and booze and drugs and stuff. There was a lot of bands that did that, and they did it great. That was their gag.
Yeah.
It was never really our gag, and to each his own. That's more power to you. Go nuts. But
a lot of it, you still kept, the band obviously has a lighthearted attitude, so it's,
yeah.
you're not singing about chicks and booze much, but you're not full on Neil Peart and Ayn Rand material either.
No, not at all. Although probably some of that affected us being from here and everything. But
right.
It's more human observation. It's just, it's just a positive message.
Yeah.
I think that's what comes out of our songs. Like if I look at the thing as a bulk of, of the work, it just seems to be, and I think people have pointed that out more to me than I really realized it. But I think it's just more of a positive message. And, it's only rock and roll, man. It isn't rocket science here. It's just, right?
Right. Now, speaking of, I'm digressing, my favorite bumper sticker of all time, it has been 25 years ago I saw this. On the back of a car, it just said NASA, because sometimes it does take a rocket scientist.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
I love that. Yeah, I mean that's another one of my hobbies too. I love all that space program and shit.
Oh yeah, I hope we get back into a little bit more.
I always wanted to be a cowboy and an astronaut, so I ended up in space and roaming.
Yeah, right.
Kind of worked out for me in the end.
Right, exactly. Split down the middle.
Yeah.
Talk about the live stuff. I mean, your voice has held up so well. I mean, do you do anything special to?
Smoke and drink a lot.
Well, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm Scottish. I come from a Scottish background. There's a lot of screaming involved in these families.
Oh, you don't
even if there's a lot of love, there's a lot of screaming involved. I don't know. I guess I'm just lucky at this point. Knock on wood, for Christ's sakes. Now you've ruined it.
Right. Exactly. Well, my middle name's Crawford. My mother's maiden name. So yeah. Yeah. So I was always be like, "How do you look so young?" Like red meat and beer.
Yeah, and I'm Graham and McLeod.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's about as Scottish as it gets.
Yeah, you know it. But I don't know. I'm lucky, I guess. I must be doing something correct or something, or I just stick to my own style.
Yeah.
Well, I don't try to force something that's not myself.
Sure.
Believe me, if you're me at this age, you know what you're sucking. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not 20 anymore. It's just reality. This happens after years and years of playing and falling down for a living, right?
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day. It's like I don't have a good voice. I don't have good pitch, but I have good ears. And the only benefit of that is I know that I'm off key.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't know any of it at this point. I have to rely on Dunk to tell me that I'm sucking. So
What do you
But
do live? Like depending on the stage shot, of course. Like what do you keep in your monitors personally? Is it him like
I keep
drums and the guitar, or do you keep everybody? Or
well now it's a modern age with the in-ear thing. So
true.
what I have in my ears are I have kick, snare, and lead guitar. That's all I have, and
Yeah,
me. That's it.
that
That's
makes
all I
sense.
need. I go off the guitar. That's usually how I find my pitch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it keeps it a little simpler, and it's a nice technology nowadays and everything because it's so fucking loud. You don't realize how loud it is until you actually use these devices.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's well, I'll tell you, it was Felix Hanneman from Zebra,
Yes.
and we were
Oh,
yeah,
I love Zebra. One of
oh,
my favorites.
fantastic guys. And Randy and Felix, I've never spoken to Guy, but they just fantastic guys. And we were having a whole conversation about how scary it must have been, and but especially with them, they had so many keyboards when the
Yeah,
technology was at infant stages. And he
totally.
was he was talking about just I'd hit something and it would just whirl off into space like an arpeggiator, just whirl off in space and I just ruin the whole song. And then
Yeah.
something crashes and it's not like today, like you got to wait 15 minutes for it to boot back up. You're dealing with like a
Yeah,
Commodore
those guys. I
64
was
running
a
a
huge
concert.
fan of those guys as a kid and everything. And I played some shows with Randy actually, but I never got to talk to him unfortunately. But
Super nice
totally
guy.
respect those cats.
Yeah, they're both super nice guys.
Are they? That's great to hear.
Oh yeah, definitely guys.
Yeah, great voices. And I actually saw Randy was up here. There's a casino right around the corner from me. He came up here a couple of years ago with like a 40-piece orchestra doing all Zeppelin, and it was killer.
I mentioned to Randy that his he's got that such a unique falsetto, and
Totally.
I told him I was like people compare you to blah blah Page, Geddy Lee,
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, to me, your especially high falsettos almost always reminded me of Frankie Valli,
Yeah.
and he kind of
Yeah.
laughed, and I couldn't tell if the laugh was that's neat, I never thought of that, or fuck you idiot, like you know.
Yeah.
But
But you're kind of right. Yeah, he's got a very odd falsetto for sure. There's no doubt about it. And he's got a weird style. Like I when I played with him, was just doing an acoustic tour, and I played a date with him, and I sat up front and watched him. He's just got an oddest style singing
yeah,
that I've ever seen. It was very odd.
yeah,
It was like a baby bird.
yeah, but it's awesome and it's unique, so
Yeah, no, great band. Love that band.
yeah. Now
Tell
that
me what you want.
yeah, I'm not going to try to join you on that, but the
Yeah.
so now with EMP, back to them. Obviously, you want to do a studio album next. I think you guys said
Mhm.
tentatively 2019. Is that right?
That's what
Or
we're looking at for sure.
do you have any
You know,
ideas or a general vision formed, or is it just be a matter of you guys
yeah.
getting together?
Well, we have a bunch of songs already
Mm-hmm.
that are already being written right now, and we're excited about it. Uh, who knows? You know, it's so hard to put out a record uh, at this stage. Yeah, I saw a interview the other day where there's a Canadian band, a famous Canadian band called Trooper.
Yeah.
You know, Raise a Little Hell, and
Mm-hmm.
Boys in the White Sports Car, and blah blah blah. And they asked him the same question, and he said, "No one wants to hear anything new from us. They just want to hear the classics." And I'm almost kind of have to agree with it, but I think we still feel like we want to do it,
Right.
you know, for ourselves and everything. So so there will be one, and I have a solo album coming out too on EMP as well.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there's going to be new music, man. There's a bunch of stuff happening already, so
That's
who knows
awesome.
what it'll be. That's the great thing about it. It's exciting we don't really ever go, oh, we want this to sound like this. We kind of just let it happen as it goes.
That's the way it should be. And the
Yeah.
sad thing is, they are kind of true. That is kind of true about a lot of fans. They come to hear the hits and stuff, but there's
Yeah,
the bands
but
like you guys seem to go one of two different ways. There's the bands that, yes, nobody wants to hear anything but the hits, and we're just going to do the legacy tours. There's guys like you and like Great White and stuff that are keep putting out new albums because they feel it's more genuine to keep creating. And
Yeah, well, I think it's just up to the musicians or whatever.
Sure.
But you know, we know our place. We're not like super mega stars. We're more of a cult situation, and we're happy in our place. But people that like the band want to hear new stuff. So
Absolutely.
we'll do it for sure, and I'm excited about it. I'm happy with some of the stuff we have. I think people might be shocked.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome.